Hello, everybody. Sorry to keep you waiting. Oh, it has been one of those weekends. I told you the other day about um the other day my cell phone was sitting there charging and I smelled something burning, and sure enough, the cell phone cord was melting. It was getting ready to catch fire. So we've ordered two new cell phones. Luckily, we go the cheap route, get refurbished, whatever, and that's good enough for us. The price is the big decider for us. Well, then Mark yesterday decided to work on the kitchen sinks because they haven't been draining well for over a year. And he'll work on them. They'll do a little bit better, then it gets worse and all that. Well, to make a long story short, they backed up and wouldn't drain at all. So whatever he was doing was loosening enough stuff that further down the line, it totally clogged the drains up. So yesterday and today, he's taking a little break right now because it gets a little noisy. He has been opening drains where the plumbing comes down in the garage, and he is using a snake to try to break up all the clog stuff. It's like a clay. He said it's the weirdest stuff he's ever seen. And then he went, yes, he has been using acid to put down, muriatic acid to put down the drains. He's been using everything he can think of. And we worked as much as we could from the roof down through the kitchen sink. And then he realized, oh, it's beyond the kitchen sink. So luckily, he's able to open the traps in the garage. At one point, he had to drain some really horrid water out of a trap, and he's trying to catch it with buckets. He's got tarps all over the floor. Oh my gosh. So I almost thought, do I cancel today or what? Because it's just been crazy. And oops, hold on just 1 second. Okay. Ah, so, oh, good. I'm here. Okay. I didn't know. It looked frozen. I was worried. So, but I was able to get a shower. We're able to use the back shower, just not the kitchen. It's crazy. And then I was getting ready to come downstairs, and I have my drink of necessity is water, water, water. So I will put a few ounces of cranberry juice. Lately, that's my thing. Sometimes it's sugar-free lemonade, simply natural or whatever, sugar-free lemonade. Sometimes I put in some cranberry juice. I accidentally spilled it on the floor. So about 5 minutes to 3, 10 minutes to 3, I'm sopping up pink liquid off the new carpet, that Mark and I put down back in October. Then I was coming down, rushing down here, trying to get ready. And a bunch of paperwork that I have been doing fell on the floor. Totally a mess. So, how is your day? Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, when it rains, it pours. So, what can you do? But I said, I think sometimes anymore, I think of it this way. I've got stories to tell the ladies. So, oh my gosh. Oh, but one of my daughters wrote me. I just didn't know if um okay. All right. So she was talking to her sister. I always wonder, is it something that I'm going to need to tell y'all or what? But new phones are coming. Then, of course, we had to get new phone cases because I love it's one of these easy to hold on to phone cases. And I have this pop up right here that I love because if it weren't for this, I would be dropping this puppy all the time. So we got those ordered. I happen to have another pop-up waiting for me to use. So Murphy's Law, I think, or things happen in threes. What a mess. But I've got a lot to show you. Some funny news, some good news. Well, first, since I've got to get this mess cleaned up, if I'm to show you the Alaska quilt, let me get a couple things out of the way. All right. I got in my new project that I got just because I've wanted it for years. And then I thought it had gone, it's a couple years old, and I thought it had gone out of production, and I found it. And that store, oh, it was S&E, or I think S&E, and it's listed in the comments for the last week's thing. And if I can find their name, I'll give it to you again. But I was so pleased. I found this kit. Um, Prices up to $277. Their original price on it was $179. I got it for $134.25. Now, I'm cheap as I'll get out. And I told you Thursday night, I was going to tell you why there are times it's really good to let me close these curtains. It's very bright. Sometimes it's really good to buy a kit. Now, you pay more for fabric in kit form because someone has to do the cutting and all of that. But there is a reason that I will tell you. Hopefully, that will help a little. Um, I think that's better. I have little side curtains that don't cover the whole window, but help take some of the glare. I think I need to get a room darkening shade. This is the hard time of year because the sun doesn't go up high enough in the sky and there are no leaves on the trees. But anyway, the company I ordered this from is really good. Now, this is by a designer named Jacqueline de Jonge. She is from Denmark. Very talented lady, very talented. You have probably seen some of her designs. They are extraordinary. And you see the colors? My great grandmother was Pamunkey Indian. So that little tiny bit of heritage I am so proud of. And that in the center here, I think she thinks it's a flower, but to me, it is feathers. And so I right away went, oh, I love that. But now getting back to why would I spend the money? I could buy the pattern for probably $20. Why am I spending money for a kit? Well, got the kit right back here. Let me get it, and I'll show you why it was a good deal to get this kit. All right. I'm trying to be so professional, but everything is a mess. Oh, poor Mark. He was up on the roof, I don't know how many times yesterday, up and down that ladder. And then he has been just trying to crunch his stuff out of the pipes. So what a mess. What a mess. Okay. So if you take a look at this fabric, there are so many subtle shades of fabric. And these are 5 inch by, I'm pretty sure they're 5 inch, 5 inch by width of fabric strips. Let me see right here. Yes, 4.5 to 5 inch width of width of fabric. But there are so many very subtle colors in here. Like there's this yellow, but then there's this one that's different. How many different blues and teals? How many different reds? So I haven't counted how many different fabrics, and that's not it. That's not all. Then you've got the background. Then you've got this precious black and white mini stripe, which really makes it pop. And then you have more strips of fabric. Okay, so here's another pack of them. Then you have tone on tone background. And there looked like there was something in it, but I don't see it now. But anyway, and then the pattern. Now, if you were, in fact, there are 27 different fabrics with this kit. 27. Most of the time, when you buy fabric online, it seems like I'm always having to buy a yard. Sometimes you can find a place you can buy a half yard, but most places no longer sell quarter yards. Well, as you can see, a quarter yard is what you would need, all you would need for most of these fabrics. But when you need 27 yards, 27 different fabrics, and if you had to pay even a half for a half yard of each, and that doesn't count the ones that you need 2 yards or 1 5/8, or the background is even more. Whoops, that's not even. No, there it is. Okay, that's the one that you need 1 5/8 yard and a third yard and 1 1/3 yards. So you can see that there are times it's really a good deal to buy a kit, because if you, the amount that you would have to buy, since you can't just buy a quarter of a yard or eighth of a yard, it can make perfect sense to buy a kit. You can come out ahead in the long run. No! Oh, they raised the price. Well, it was a sale. Now, it probably won't work. But if you could say Our Time to Quilt was bragging about their shop and mention that she got the kit for 134, see if they can cut you a deal. Name drop, because I have a feeling people are looking at it because they saw something about it on here. So if it helps to name drop this show, go for it. Because here, I want to make sure okay. Here they are, A and E fabrics from Pensacola. And here is the kit price there. Okay. So there it is. Here is the pattern. It's going to be a tricky pattern to follow in a lot of ways. Understanding that this had to be translated, it's going to be tricky, and it's not going to be an easy quilt. I don't believe it. I think it's going to be a little bit more intermediate to what would you call something more difficult than intermediate? Expert, which I'm not. So anyway, but I just thought I would show you that and tell you why. Sometimes it's a really good thing to buy a kit. Now, one thing. Oh, that's right. So that's where, let me find my blue notebook. Oops. Oh, I did drop one. I did drop one. So now I've got 2 new ideas for kits. And I wanted to tell you about this too. Remember how this is my spinning This is my spinning cutting board. Well, let me make sure I don't have anything near the hot iron. This is my spinning cutting board. Remember, I found a new cutting mat from Walmart for $6 and something. Mark cut it down for me and we glued it on because I couldn't get the old mat off, so we glued it on top. I was using, what was it called? I was using a different glue. It's like a carpenter's type glue, and it didn't work. So we had to wipe it off. What did work was good old E6000, E6000, I think it's called. That worked wonderfully. I was able to take it to my class, and it is so nice to have a light color, brand new board. So that was a very good thing and a great way to spend money. I'm going to go ahead and show you some of this stuff because I got stuff everywhere to show you. So before Christmas, I decided to make some snow globes. But there's one little problem I noticed. I went to E6000. Yes, it is the best. I went to get one of these out of the box, these extras, to show you and realized they've all turned colors. Look how dark this is because the stuff I put in there is probably rusting or the dye is coming out of it. So I'm going to have to tell everyone, just go ahead and toss your snow globes. So it was fun to give them, but they're not holding up. So, but anyway, I just thought I would show you. They've got a mixture of glycerin and water. It probably would have done better if I had used straight glycerin. But anyway, and each of them has, you can't even quite see it. There's a little gingerbread man in the back there. So I hid a little gingerbread man in each of their snow globes. But it was fun to try to make. But I'm just going to say, don't feel like you have to keep this for old time's sake. They are a fail. They are a fail. And these jars were from like chip dip. They're nice heavy jars, so I knew that they would be safe. And they are glued shut, so they can't open or leak. But you better, before you make a snow globe, find out if the stuff will hold its color. So, anyway, I just thought I would show you that. That was the lightest one. The rest were even darker with the dye transfer. So, what I was going to show you real quick was I did something different this time. When I got that pattern, I went ahead and took all of the templates and I glued them on cardstock and then I coated them with triple thick acrylic sealer. And there we go. And so these will stay with that. I'll put it in a special sack. And that way it's all together when I get around to making it. Now, the other thing you saw the pattern. I don't think I have the pattern with me. Oh, it's over there with the fabric. I found a gorgeous pattern. When I went to buy fabric for the Alaska quilt for my class, I bought traditional Alaska colors. And it was blues and beiges and tans. Then I said, I found this right, like not even a week and a half before class. I found this coloration and went, and so I shopped my stash and I had everything I needed right in my stash. So the fabric came in for the original colorway that I ordered. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to waste that fabric. So I found a gorgeous pattern, which I don't have right here. It's over. I've already packed that pattern and fabric in one chunk. But what I did do is just look through the pattern and found that it's going to have a lot of paper piecing. So here's a paper piecing. It's two sections that you can tell will fit together. Then there was this page that had these two that I assume will fit together, but I don't know. And this page. And it's going to have some really pretty flying geese. So what I did is I took the original pages and I wrote original on them, because if you get a pattern for a quilt, never cut the pages up for templates or anything like that. Try to make a copy of it, even if you have to trace it, and keep the original paperwork. That way you can maybe sell it, gift it to someone, or use it again. So unfortunately, it was kind of late one night and I went to cut up. I thought it was a copy. It was original. So I will make another copy of that and then label that one original. So anyway, what I did is then I took and I made copies of these pages, because some of them, they each said makes 26. So on here it says make 26 copies of this. And so did this piece, make 26. So I lumped these two pieces together on the same page, because you know me, I'm very cheap and frugal, and I didn't want to print a bunch of unnecessary stuff. This one I had to make 48 copies of. So what I did is I came down here, and then here is this one again. And I do believe I actually put these two pieces together in one section. So because I think they're supposed to go together. So what I started doing yesterday while I was sewing, I started making copies on newsprint. I like to do newsprint. I used to use copy paper, but it's more expensive. Newsprint is easier to tear off. And in fact, if you didn't get all of it off and you ran it through the wash, it'll probably just, dissolve, crumble. But while I was busy sewing, where are the rest of these? Okay. Let me see. When this hit the floor, they went everywhere. All right. Here they are. Okay. And we of course, ran out of ink. So I had to put a urgent. Luckily, Walmart delivered the ink the next day. Thank goodness. I am loving that Walmart. All right. So here are the 48 copies of newsprint for this page. Now, before I use those, I will rough cut them out, and then at every line I will make a crease. That makes it easy because you sew from the opposite side. So if you have a crease there, you can see where to line the fabric up. Also, when you crease it, then when it comes time to remove it, it's that much easier. All right, I'm going to go ahead and, well, no, I'm going to leave it down here. It's no sense taking it up, but I was going to show you. So these are all printed. And then, oh, here it is. Remember I told you I put this together because I do believe, it was the two pieces over here that then I took a chance and said, I think those two pieces are going to go together. So I put that together, and then it said it was makes 13. I made 13 copies of the thing all at once. So that's done. And then, because, while I'm sitting near the printer, good time. So this one should make 52 copies of this and 52 copies of that. Well, if you put them both on the same page, now I'm thinking, no, darn it. I thought I found a way to just make 26, but I think that's still not going to do it. If I had put two of the same. So this one may have to be revisited. I thought I was being smart, but gets harder and harder every year. So anyway, but that's a lot of printing. The good thing is you're only printing little lines. You're not using up too much ink. And newsprint is very inexpensive. So now you might say, well, are you getting ready to start those? No, but since this week I managed to put all my fabric, got it resorted and put away, what I've decided to do is as I do another cleaning project in this room, then I might allow myself a little reward of an hour a day sewing one of my new projects. And I know, it's a really good idea to kind of get things sewn and get them all done and because I have over 100 UFOs, but I am the type person that needs a little something to be excited about to keep going, to keep my energy level up. So, all right. And I made one promise so far in my life that I have kept, one quilting promise. And that was I would never sew hexagons. And today I'm going to talk to you a little later about why I might break that one promise, the only one that I've kept. Because over these years, I've said, I'll never hand sew. I would never hand quilt. I'll never do applique. I've broken all of those very happily. So I don't know if this is going to turn out to be one of those things or not. So I've got a couple things to show you. I have been watching videos on the subject. English paper piecing is what I'm referring to. And there's something I just don't like about the look of a hexagon. But if you take and do really cool millefeuille things with hexagons, that's kind of cool. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. It's like, am I going to break my promise? So let me see who's here. Then I'm going to get the Alaska quilt and show you how far I've come and some little take one step forward, right, two steps forward and one step back. That's me. So let's see all who is here. Oh, hi, Joe. So, oh, she got a good. Have fun with your visitor, sweetie. We'll be here. Oh no, Canadian artisans having trouble. Ooh, I'm sorry. Who knows how busy? Marcia, first person here. Charlene Lawson, yay. It's a gloomy day in Florida. That's not that often. Oh, normally, well, although when I was in there, I was there when I was 16 years old. Every afternoon, there was a thunderstorm. So maybe it does. But I know it's lovely. And Debbie's here. Hi. Oh, this is great to see. Laura R. Uh-oh. Your new atmospheric river and high winds. Oh, sweetie, let us know how you're doing. I've heard of that, the wafting through and so let's see. Yep, I wasn't frozen. So yeah, I'm sorry about being a few minutes late. I mean, it was like everything just went at the same time. You play musical shades all day. Isn't that the truth? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it drives me nuts. And I used to think remote control shades, isn't that just for lazy people? And now I'm going, you know what? I like that idea. Just push a button and instant relief. So, Diana's Sewing Adventures is here. Oh, it's so good to see you. And how wonderful that Canadian Artisan is here. I hope you're all settled in and happy where you ended up. I know for a while, talk about life being, upside down. You had and Canadian Artisan, I have forgot. I think your name is Carol. Please let me be right. I try never to forget who you are, and I love your business, your hand sewing videos, and all of that. So, Joso, how great to see her. This is so wonderful. I love seeing your names. Jody is here. Hi, sweetheart. And today we're also going to have a drawing for the very next UFO. I've got some pictures of completed UFOs from Melanie. So we'll see those during show and tell. I'll go ahead and tell you today's number that I chose 1 through 12 for our 12 UFO projects, which I have mine hanging here and I haven't worked on not a single bit, but I'll still keep trying. But the next project is number 11. I do believe that was number 9. Now, whatever UFO you have listed under number 11, that's this month's pick. So I'm going to make sure I pin it over here so we know 9 and 11. All right. Now let's see. Oh, Mary, how is your? Oh, good. Oh, your daughter Carrie is doing better. Yay. Oh, I hope I didn't miss anyone. I'm just loving to see all of y'all. Thank goodness. Oh, Mary, I know you were so worried. Yeah, my daughter got the flu this week. So, but she's doing better, thank goodness. Um, I, you didn't get all your you know that's that the thing is I was talking to Mark, and sometimes the dogs take a long time to come in when he calls them. And I said, well, they come in real good for me, but that's because if I notice they start kind of piddling around when I'm calling them, I offer them a little treat when they come in, a little piece of a milk bone or something when they come in. They think that is the best. So then I do that a few times and they get used to, oh, it's good to come when mom calls. He said, well, isn't that bribery? And I said, no, it's called rewarding, because how much of us would work at our jobs if we didn't get paid? Not that many. And I said, you just get them conditioned. I don't give them treats all the time, but get them conditioned that when mom calls, it goes, oh, that's a good thing. Then they don't always need the treat. So anyway, I'm trying to, he likes being tough with the dogs, but you know what? They're not going to listen to that. Who would? I know I wouldn't. So but I just saw Michelle's name. Oh, Michelle, how wonderful to see you, sweetheart. Oh, wow. And Polly is talking about, oh, let me tell you, when Lisa and I were just at the Myrtle Beach quilt party, I went through, Schoolhouse Quilt. I love that store, Schoolhouse Quilts, online and at different. They are really good about going to different events and setting up a vendor booth. They had little tiny hexagon papers. No, will not happen. I can tell you now for sure. Will not happen. Little tiny. No, won't happen. Won't happen. Schoolhouse quilts. Oh, I love them. They're in North Carolina, I think over further towards the west of the mountains, and they're wonderful. Odie dilly dallies when Don lets him out. Ah, well, that's good that the mom eye works. Mine, we have an acre and a quarter here. So when they go out there, they pretend all of a sudden I'm deaf. I can't hear. You saw a beautiful quilt and tiny hexagons. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, it is so good to see all of you. Okay. So now I have my side border on my Alaska quilt. Dogs without borders. Yeah, dogs without rules. But you know what? I give them a treat. They can't wait. And everywhere I go in the house, they follow me. And then that's another thing too. He honestly feeds them most all the time. But when I feed them, I give them a little pouch in with their dry food. So they think that's wonderful. He thinks I'm spoiling him. Now, this is a man who won't eat leftovers. So, yeah, yep, yep, yep. Let me get a little second of this. I didn't get it pressed when I put the side borders on. Let me see if I can just touch it up real quick and then I'll hang it up behind us. Because the other day, I put on the last rose. I had Mark hold it up for me. And then we put it up on the living room quilt. I don't really have a design wall, and I wish I had a design wall. So, but what I do is I have a quilt that is hung in the living room, and I change it out when I feel moved to try something different. But it's just one of the curtain rods with the clips on it, and so I can change out the quilt. And so, but what I end up doing is coming upstairs after I've worked on one of the quilts, and I come upstairs and hang this on top of the other quilt that's always hanging there, and that kind of acts as a design wall. And so I hung it up there. And then Mark, being who he is, which he has a great eye for detail, and he can catch anything that doesn't quite look right. So he gets over and he's like, I do like that, which that's always important to say first. It's always important to compliment the quilter before you say, did you ever notice? So he complimented the quilt. Good boy. And then he started saying, but I see a couple things that just don't quite look right. So I said, well, I brought up my color, um, my the blue, the different color picture so that I could take a look at it. One of the things, if you do a different color scheme, especially something that's so different. I mean, this is um, so dark compared to the light other one. So you can't just go, oh, do you put a light here and a light? No, it's complete opposite most of the places. So that gets really, really tricky. And so when I was trying to plan out the colors that I was going to use and trying to plan how that was going to change the blocks, there were a couple times where I just didn't know. I was like, well, now if I had had more time to cut this out, I could have planned it a little better. But I was in a panic to get all this cut out before getting to Myrtle Beach. So let me see how fast I can get this. Sorry. This is kind of like watching paint dry, I know. And I promise we've got some good things coming up. But I want this to try to lay as flat because you'll see I have a very good reason. I found over a dozen mistakes on this. I mean, after Mark noticed a couple things didn't quite make sense, I said, oh boy. So the next morning when I got up, I couldn't face it right away. I have to sneak into going, what have I done wrong now? But I got up the next morning. It would have helped if I had dust mopped the floor before I start ironing this. Um, but anyway, I got up the next morning and I sat right across from it. It was hanging on the wall. And I sat with this and started going down the blocks, down the rows, looking for mistakes. These are the mistakes that I found. I was ill because I was hoping this was yesterday morning, I guess, or yeah, because I worked on it Friday. I was hoping to get it on the frame. I even took my backing upstairs so I could get that ready and get it pressed. And oh my gosh, I found mistake after mistake because when you choose such different colors, you're not you're not sure what the design is and why a certain color has to be there. So there were a couple blocks. I had to take blocks out and completely dismantle the blocks. I mean, completely take them apart. And you know what? I absolutely hate unsewing. I hate it. It is so hard to try to tease out the piece or take out the whole block and then totally redo it. And then you have to press the edges, try to press everything smooth so that when you put it back in, it will lay. This may not. I wanted to get this iron so it'll look better for you because upstairs where I was working on this, I don't have a big ironing space. But you know what? I think I'm just going to have to hang it up and we'll hope for the best. And I will, when I get the top and bottom border on, I will try to get it all pressed good and then we'll see where we're going. So, but the good thing is, I came downstairs because looking at these colors and knowing that there were half of the fabrics in this quilt are Jenny Beyer fabrics, I started looking through my stash. And yes, Polly, Polly, I told Mark, Polly agrees with you. Deb has a very plentiful stash. And he even came down here. I told him I wanted to show y'all pictures of it. So he even came down and took pictures to make sure that y'all would see what he sees. So I will be showing you, I will be showing you those pictures during our show and tell. All right. I think this is not going to be perfect. And what it's kind of, I hate to show you before I've got it pressed well, because not only did I have to take out several blocks and completely redo them, I had to take a chunk of 3 blocks out, turn them over, stitch them back in. I was up until 3 in the morning last night, um, trying to carefully get the pieces put in correctly. And when it's, I'll give you an example. These things had to be put in. I had the wrong color. So I do those by hand. So that's just too hard for me to try to put a little piece in by machine. I'm going to hold it up and then I'm going to hang it over here. So let me back this up a little. Here we go. All right. I do want to tell you right away, I'm very happy with how it came out. And I the sections matched better before I had to do all my repairs. But and I want to show you, this is the border I picked out for it. So, okay, let me put it up here so we can look at it. Ouch, that was a pin. All right. All right. So I've worked very hard on this one. Very, very hard. And this is a very special quilt for me. And so I've tried to put the time and effort into it. But little things like, I'll give you an example of what was turned wrong. These are really cute. I didn't have the right, I call them teeth now, but I had to replace all of these. Then these things here, some were turned wrong, upside down. So that throws off the quarter square triangles, it throws off everything. So let me see. Then there were, that bright teal really sets off the quilt. So some of these triangles were not correct because I had all different colors. And until I actually had it put together and hanging on the wall, and then went block by block by block. And little things like, I'll give you, cheers. I'll give you an example. See, see these circular triangles? That's a very big effect of the quilt. Just like these cute little flower designs. Whoops, hold on. Let me bring it down here. Okay, these cute little flower designs that I pointed out. There are two at every corner. So that's where I had to go back and replace those. I had to turn around some of these with the lightest points because this, do you see how right here it makes a half circle? So if you don't have those facing the right way, you lose that secondary design. And I love the secondary designs in this quilt. They're all over the place. So now when I show you, let me make sure I have it all the way out. It's awfully close. Let me push it out a little bit. But whoops. But now when I show you, you start to see some of the secondary designs. And I am still, oh, thank you. Thank you, everyone. You're so sweet. And so, what I am going to do though, I will be taking it upstairs again, hanging it on the wall, and going over piece by piece. But now you know that's why I had so many mistakes that I had to make. This is not a hard quilt to make, but it is a fussy quilt. There are so many points that you try to preserve. There are so many intersections you try to get as perfect as you can. So many placements of fabric that you have to get the right way. And if you're making it from a kit, especially a pre-cut, then that's really wonderful because you won't have all the problems that I had with certain colors. This was supposed to be a 6 fabric quilt. Well, I chose 10 fabrics. So if you choose 10 fabrics, yep, that's what you get. But I wanted you to see with that is such I'm really happy with the colors I ended up going with. I love the combination of blues and turquoises. And look at the Jenny Buyer border that I found. I hope I didn't have this cut out for a different project, but I used it now. So this is going to go, and I'm not using the bottom part. I'm just using, I put a 2.5 inch black border and then this. So anyway, so there is where I am. And it's been worth the work, but it's a lot of work. But I was hoping to work some on my UFO, but I'm so sorry. There, I don't move as fast as I used to, but I will continue. I am very committed to getting my UFOs caught up, and I'm going to continue to weed some out. Things I started 15 years ago, I might not like anymore. So I am committed. I'm going to be doing a lot of work on that. But I think that this is the perfect border. I had, I moved those fabric. I had some other Jenny Buyer fabrics. I pulled out everything with blues in them, but this hit the spot. That hit the spot. So anyway, turquoise is your birthstone. Oh, if I were a nice person, I'd give her this quilt, but I'm not that nice. Well, that was mean of me. I love this quilt. This quilt is going to take a place of honor. I'm going to be honest with you. And Michelle, if she's still here, she'll tell you piecing is not my forte. I am a terrible piecer. I don't have the attention span. I don't have the patience. So it's really, really hard. Something is in my eye, but it's really, really hard for me to do piecing. And I'm so honored with this that the only other quilt I will give this much attention to is probably going to be the Moon Glow, which I need to get started this year. One thing I wanted to show you, I was telling you about how I keep my fabrics in order because that's critical. If I were left to my own devices and just piled stuff places, I wouldn't be able to make a quilt like this because I need to be able to see exactly what I have and make the best choices. So I told you about the comic boards. They are wonderful. You can look on Amazon. Connecting Threads has them, but you try to find them. Look on eBay. Try to find them on sale or the best price. Now, if you want to use your own, if you want to get a heavy duty cardstock and make your own, you can. Check out the price and compare. The one thing that's beneficial about these is they're archival, which means if you have fabric in your stash for 20 years, you don't have to worry about the acid in the paper damaging fabric because there's no acid in the paper. They're made to wrap, to put inside comics. Those guys' comics they love to save. So what I'm going to do is show you how do I use these. Now I've told you I use these because of the little baskets. Let me grab a basket here. But I thought this is worth talking about because we all have the same issues of how to store our item. So I have gone to dollar stores several times and bought these cute little miniature baskets. They used to be $1, now they're $1.25. But see these? And if you notice, these fit perfectly in them. The good thing about storing them upright and not laying down is you can always leaf through and see exactly what you have. If they're laid down and trying to lift them up, that wouldn't work. So I'm going to show you how I do this because I think I've come up with a really good design of how to store my stuff. And I will show you the pictures of my closet. All right, so here is the fabric. Let me tilt you down. Ugh. Okay. All right, so here's my fabric, and here are the selvages, okay? So up top is the fold as it came. This is how it was folded on the bolt. I bring the fold over and just past the selvages, okay? I always try to keep this part of the selvage on the fabric so I know exactly what fabric it is. Because let's say it's the perfect fabric and I run out, then I've got the selvage to go looking around and do an in search of on what is that? There's a groups IO site that you people can sell their sewing supplies, machines, all of that. And but you see how I iron it. This is an important part, and that's why it takes a little bit of time when you get it set up. But now it's folded 4 layers, okay? And you just fold it as you get it off the bolt. Just bring it back down again, and then you'll see that's a pretty good fit. What I do, these are the parts that are the most intact. They get rolled on first. Okay? And I roll it nice and tight because you can fit more fabric in if you get it nice and smooth and tight. Every time I roll it, I come behind and give it a press. Then I roll it again. And like right here, it's a little bit, yeah, get it nice and flat. Do what you have to do to get it flat. Then the last little piece comes up. Now, let's say that this were only this big. Then what I would do is fold it inside like that. But it's big enough to come and stay in place, and it will give me less bulk than folding it inside. Then I get my jumbo paper clips and I put it on the top like this. And then now it goes in the basket. Let me bring that out. So I can fit, oh, a mess, because you see how thin it gets by the time you iron it and put it on there? Gets really thin, and then I put them all in. The comic board keeps them stiff, keeps them standing up. So this is how I handle. This is how um this is how I handle storing my fabric. Now, for pieces that are less than a half yard that I don't want to put on a comic board, what I have done then is I get these silverware plastic trays, and I fold them to fit into that. The silverware trays are about this wide, about 3 inches, and I fold them and then place them upright in that way. So, okay. That is, I just wanted to show you. I thought this is such a good way to show them. Now, I will put up to a couple of yards on the comic board, but you can go to almost any quilt shop in your town and ask them to save you their bolts And when I get like my backings, my black, my white, my cream fabrics that I buy in more bulk, I will put those on old bolts from sewing shops. So, and then I'll show you in the picture, they get stored standing up on the floor of the closet. So, and it's important, I'm going to say this, that you, if you, wherever you store your fabric, try to have a good ambient temperature. This room is heated and cooled. It is in the basement, so it tends to be a little more damp, but we have a dehumidifier right in the laundry room next door. And I keep damp red containers around. You can get them that'll hang on a hanger in the closet, or you can get the little containers. And Mark buys the damp red stuff in gallon containers and he'll go around. You do not pour damp red down your drain. That's something that has to go out to a wooded area just because you don't want it solidifying in your pipes. So we didn't do that to our pipes. We don't know. But let's go now and do show and tell. And then I'll talk to you about my hexie dilemma. Okay? Let's do show and tell. All right, let me turn off this light. Now, I apologize if I'm missing any of your show and tell, then I'm really sorry, but I'll try to do better. But I did try to look quickly, and I think I've been trying to keep up with them, so we'll see how I did. Okay. All right. Now, let me, I have to kind of, there we go. Let me tighten this. All right. Now let's do show and tell. Okay. And if anyone would like, you have Marcia. I tried to write you, and Mary was worried about you. Also, I'm going to put really quick in the chat that if you would like to share your photos or like to join our group's IO, just pop me an email at our time to quilt at twc.com. Now, we had something the other day where we were notified by Groups IO that they were going through, and I don't know if they were worried about spam or what, but they asked us to check our membership list, and if you had an email that was no longer valid, we deleted them. So if you find you're not getting emails from the Groups IO site and you've already joined, send me an email, let me know, and I'll make sure that you're put back on the site because we love having you there. Just we were all had to do some housekeeping so they would know that only current members had their names on the list. All right, so let's go to show and tell. And let's see. Whoops. Come on, Deb. We can do this. All right. And I think I'm going to go real quick to mine just because I was telling you about the fabric. So while we're thinking about it, okay, here we go. First thing I'm going to show you, oh, this is what Mark is dealing with in the garage. This is our kitchen drain pipe. It was completely clogged, and he has been hammering at it. And he says it's almost like it's a putty or something. It's really odd. And but neither of us have ever looked down pipes, so we didn't know what to expect. So, and this is only about 2.5 inches or something. So he's having to do quite a lot of work on this. I told him, wouldn't it be nice if we could just replace those pipes? I don't think he appreciated that idea. All right. So my closet. Let's see. Well, I have little things, little storage things under my counters where some of my older fabrics or groupings of things, like here are some of my landscape fabrics. So I have some things like that. Then here are some other ones because I used to keep my fabric like this. These are the groups of fabrics I've brought together that are waiting for projects. And then here is my fabric closet. Here are the things on bolts, and they're also laying on the floor. And here, these are mostly battings and bulk of background colors. Then here's the little silverware, and some of my colors kind of grew into other containers. But these are my scraps that are too small to go on the boards, but bigger than the scrap bag. And then, as you see, I've segregated things by color. I've got 1.5 purples, I've got 2 greens, but you notice blue is my favorite color. I've got 1 yellow orange, but I thought that that's a reasonable stash, but Mark thinks I'm very spoiled. And I can't argue but so much. I have 2 containers of multicolored. They're too multiple colored to really segregate in one of the other colors. I have 2 red and pink containers. And I think I have 3 blues, but I think half of this is also green. So, and over here that you're not seeing are tan, beige, black, and browns. So, but otherwise, and to me, this is very neat and tidy. So, and if you come sew with me, here is one of my silverware containers with some of my little folded, smaller than a half yard pieces. And I'm going to start shopping those before I automatically go to the comic boards because they have some good, stuff on them. You've already seen that. Let me make sure that I think I showed you everything. All right, so now let's go see what we've got for you. Let me see. No, I think y'all. Oh, I don't know if y'all saw these photos, but my son, I told you he's been saving up for a few years to get a snare drum. And there's Russell and Donnie helping Daddy play the snare drum. And here they are. It's so cute. Wow, he's already got a lot of dimples on the head of that snare drum. He is enjoying that. Okay, let me see. Yeah, I think I showed you everything else, but they are wonderful, doing good. All right, so now let's go back to you. Okay, Alberta. Oh, these are the wonderful things she did for Christmas. I haven't yet emptied out some of these folders. So feel free to send me the latest thing you're working on and I will clean these out. And oh, Miss Ann sent some cute pictures. I mean, this woman's talented. And evidently she's selling some of her art. So that's working beautifully. But look at her. And her ink tints, I think, have just changed her world. And I love it. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? She's a very talented woman. So I'm hoping that she's going to make her own channel if she wants, so she can teach people how to do this. But I just love it. So and then she took, you remember when we were doing triptychs? She kept hers together and decorated it. and a woman in her apartment building bought it from her. I love that. But you know, she has a cute eye, and what a talented lady. So thank you, Miss Ann. Please send us more and more. Let's go. Let me see. Betty Meisner. Oh, she was so cute. She sent me this at Christmas because she knows I love the Grinch. And she said, even the Grinch sews. So I think that is so cute. I love it. I'm very much in touch with my inner child. So. All right. I'm not sure there was anything new there, or maybe let me better show you a few things because I don't want to miss showing you anyone's new work. I appreciate y'all sending me things so much. But these are lovely. I love all the different colors she's added to it. And you know what? That's a good point. Stripes are wonderful. Look at this. She's got two different stripes, three actually. And stripes are wonderful. They add a lot of interest. So use some stripes in a quilt project today. All right. Let me see. I'm imitating Mark does some um, voice work for Pepsi, and that's Mark does his great professional voice. Uh, Okay. Let's see. What next? Think. All right. Miss Bonnie. We know she's been busy. Look at this beautiful. It says dreams. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Ah, beautiful. Look at this. Miss Bonnie does a wonderful job with her applique, with her stitching. What a talented lady. Talented, talented. All right. I think I got her new ones. Then Charlene, let's see. Oh, got to show you this one again. Look at that great grandbaby. Isn't he beautiful? Oh, look at that child. Oh, these are her UFOs waiting in the closet to get worked on. So, and just send me an email when you get one completed. It doesn't matter if you complete it early or not. I want to give you that credit. All right, let's see. Debbie Hodges. Okay, we've got something really, really cute. Here is her granddaughter who is building her own miniatures now. I love those miniature kits, and I'm going to treat myself to times on my miniatures very soon because Debbie, tell your granddaughter that she inspired me to get busy again. Look how it has a cute little cat stand coming out of the playhouse. I love that. Oh, what a cutie. Now she tell her she's famous. Look at this cute, cute miniature. What a great job. She's got a slide for them. Oh, look at all the kitties in there. That is so cute. Way to go, sweetie pie. We love it. Okay, let's see where we're going. And oh, guys, did I show you Chloe? Because that is the cutest, cutest pup. And hopefully Chloe's doing beautifully. All right, we have two group puppies, Chloe and Willow. Then Diana. Oh, just since Diana was here, I just want to show one more time the wonderful artwork she made for her son. I know he treasures it. Beautiful, sweetie. Mm, y'all are so talented. You inspire me every time we look at these. And I'm not sure if I have anything new from Dolores, but you know what? Never hurts to look at her one of her golden oldies. Isn't that gorgeous? The thread painting work that she does is exquisite. She is an artist and amazing at that. I forgot to ask her how she does the whiskers. They are wonderful. Okay, so now let's see where we're going. Oh, what is this? Must be from Miss Jody. Miss Jody, is this one of yours? It is beautiful, sweetie. Now, I'm going to tell you something right now. If I had done that Lemoyne star, if I had done this quilt, there's no way it would be laying flat. That is gorgeous. Way to go, hon. We've got to remember how many different pieces of fabric are all joined in. And that is beautiful. Way to go. And she spotted Bigfoot. She really did. So let's see. Joni. Yeah, okay. These have been for a little while, but you know what? I love her rope making. She used fabric strips to make her rope, and she's not sure. She even made the reels those are coasters that she joined to paper towel rolls and made the spools. So I just love those. I think she's going to use them as decor for her sewing room. I would have a hard time using them up because they're so pretty. Miss Mary, what do I have? Oh, I know a couple things. Let me see. Let me see. Whoops. Oh, might have a hard time. No, I can't open that one. But look at the cat bed she made. Isn't that wonderful? Now I'm wondering, you're going to have to tell us, Miss Mary, did you make your own fabric roping or did you cover rope with fabric? That is lovely. And I'm sure that kitty loves curling up in that bed. You're so talented. Way to go, Miss Mary. Gosh, isn't that amazing? I'm trying to think if there's anything new. I don't know why there are a couple Jenny Beyer patterns in here. Sometimes when I'm looking for something, Jenny Beyer photos get kind of confused in different places, but okay, now let's see. I apologize if I'm missing something else. Okay, whoops. Yeah, Marsha Hahn. Okay. Oh, look at her cute little pup. Isn't that beautiful? That's a beautiful little Maltese puppy. And her beautiful mantle for Halloween. Ah, her landscape quilt. There is so much to learn, whoops, from her landscape quilt. And then here is a wonderful portrait quilt she did of her Maltese. Ah, this is just great. Just wonderful. All right. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Miss Marcia. Now let's see. Melanie. I know Melanie sent some new things because she sent things, UFOs that she has finished. I know right away. Here is a tumbler tote that she made, and she needs a button for it. And I was thinking about a button about an inch or inch and a half big. She said she'd like a 3 or 4 inch one. I'm not sure I can get one that big, but I do have a collection somewhere of big buttons. But isn't that wonderful, that tumbler tote? And that is a tessellation. And that's another thing I was going to talk about today. But look at this beautiful zippered pouch. This is going to the hospital for cancer patients who need to carry special treatment things in on their person. Isn't she wonderful? That's beautiful. And she said the hospital provides the fabric and they provide the crafting. What a lovely person our Melanie is. And then for her UFO. Oh, yep. Here is the tumbler fabric she was making. I love it. I've never made a tumbler quilt. Here's her beautiful willow. And here we come to her. She finished the UFOs for her kitchen table. And I'm not sure if it's just the angle of the photo or do they look like that the the mats themselves are angled to be on a circular table, but they're really pretty. And she used all the decorative stitching on her sewing machine. How many of us have ever even used the stitches that come with the sewing machine? But they're lovely, and what a great way to add something nice. And this is uh her daughter gave her this t-shirt for Christmas. That was so cute. That's a perfect shirt for a quilter. Love it. Okay. I think I got those, but way to go. I think that was it, but way to go, Miss Melanie. Now I'm going to go out here. Nancy Lynn, did she send? Hmm. Well, let's see. Look at this beautiful quilt. This woman's so talented. Look at that. And look, I love the reflections in the water. Reflections really do make the water come to life. So, Nancy Lynn, we're so happy that you have popped back in, and we love showing your beautiful work. So, isn't that wonderful? And remember, Nancy Lynn has vision difficulties, but you'd never know it through her work. She's so talented. All right, and one last, just because I love her seagrass. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So thank you, Miss Nancy Lynn. Okay, now let's see. Who is next? Nicole C. Oh, she wrote and said she was inspired by our landscapes to start making landscapes. And I think that this is great. And I love her sense of joy and all of the different embellishments she uses. This is fantastic. So please keep it up. Send us some more photos. I love the boat, the rocks, all of it. It is lovely. So keep up the great work and share with us anytime. Isn't that wonderful? So thank you, Nicole. All right. Now, Patricia Fry. I'm pretty sure she's been busy. She made, I'm just going to show all of these so we can get it straight. She made a wonderful John Wayne quilt for her husband. He is a huge John Wayne fan. Isn't that nice? And there he is with his John Wayne quilt. That's wonderful. I know he appreciated that. And wonderful blocks and grandchildren's stockings. Look at the table runner. She's working on her Bargello, and it's lovely and wonderful place settings, perfect in time for Valentine's Day. Oh, they're coffee placemats. They are really cute. Okay. Now let's see. Miss Polly. Oh gosh, I love this cow. It is so cute. I love that. There's something very appealing to me about using all different colors and patterns to create animals. It is just so adorable. It makes you smile, makes you happy. And I know Miss Polly's been still working on her weaving. Can't wait to see some pictures of that. We love your work. You everybody here that contributes something to our show and tell, please know it is wonderful. So this is Miss Vicky. I haven't heard from her in a while. I hope she's okay. But she's into weaving rope bowls. I mean, really nice and stitching them. There are plenty, I think, probably of YouTube videos to show how to make rugs and bowls. And you use your sewing machine and you can use normal fabric. You can use just about anything, any kind of ropes or yarns, but she's a very talented lady, our Miss Vicky. So please keep sharing with us. We love it. Now, I'm wondering, is this Miss Vicky who we now call Joe Sews? I'm trying to remember, but thank you for that. And I think that might be our last person. Now, let me do one thing real quick and see. Are there any um, 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 oh, I don't know. I was hoping that I had some pictures of, nope. Okay. Because I'm working on trying to get some ideas for what we're going to do this year. Because I would like for us to work on some new and fun projects. So I have been looking, as I said, I want to ask y'all a question. Do y'all like peeling dried paint off of plastic? There's something very satisfying about just sitting there and just kind of picking at it until it comes off the. Anyway, I'm telling y'all stuff about myself. So, okay, here we go. And now I forgot. Oh, talking about hexing. Okay. I think I must be losing my mind. Yep, I think I do. I have been just feeling drawn to English paper piecing. And if you knew me for any length of time, I think you'd be shocked because for 20 years I've said, I will never, a hexie will never darken my door. Well, I was reading this in a magazine the other day, thinking about tessellations and what kind of shapes could I make with tessellations that could maybe be English paper piecing that's not a hexie. I found this article by Victoria Findlay Wolf, and it was in the American Quilter magazine. And I thought, oh, that's a cool tessellation shape. A tessellation shape. Let me see. I I wish I had a darker color. I should have set this up, but I'll give you just a few, a real brief, um, in case you're not used to what tessellations are. Tessellation is a name that an artist who was born before the turn of the 20th, before the turn of the 20th century. His name is M.C. Escher. And he was a great artist, but he was also a mathematician. And he came up with making a shape where the shape itself could be repeated over and over and fill up a space with no waste or extra or surplus. The shape itself filled up the entire space. So let me see if I can show you just a wee bit about tessellations, because a lot of English paper piecing designs are tessellations. All right, so you start with a square and try to make it pretty even. Okay, let me make sure. I'm trying to make sure it's pretty even. You can always even it up by folding it at an angle like this and then cutting off anything that hangs over. But here is a square. Now, if you take this square and let's say we're going to use, whoops, let me make sure I stay in the camera range. I'm going to come here and I'm going to draw that. And then I'm going to come on a corresponding side and I'm going to draw this. Now I will take and cut this shape out using one pass. Don't cut and then cut more and cut more. No, just cut on the line and around the corner. All right. So here's what you've got. You've cut this shape out of the square. What I'm going to do is put the square down here now and then tape this to the opposite side. All I did was take it from there and put it up here, facing the same direction. Now I'm going to come over to this one, cut this shape on the line. Whoops. Oh, well, it's going to have a new line. That shape was a wee bit tricky. So here is where the shape comes from. Okay. And what I'm going to do is move this here. Okay, so it's just on the opposite side in the same location on the side. It's not dropped down lower, it's right where the other one was. Now, what you can do now, which I find pretty interesting, is you can take and put this any way you want on the paper. And I'm going to do something really quickly. I'm going to take and outline this shape so you can see what I'm doing. It would be great if this were a whole different color, but I didn't really plan this out in advance. I've just been thinking about it. I just want you to be able to see what the shape is. Oops, let me get all the way to the edge here. And it also would be good if you make your tessellation shapes out of cardstock or lightweight cardboard. All right, so I'm going to take this shape and I'm going to draw it right here. Doesn't matter where I put it. It doesn't matter. Oh, I can't. I started to cut off that point, but I can't because it has to stay exactly like it was cut. I'm going to draw this But by doing those two cuts and putting them just where they're supposed to go, which is in the same direction but on the opposite side. And there are other ways. Jenny Beyer has a really good book on tessellations, which I will be using too. All right, so here it is. Ignore those little ink things. What you can do is you can then come up. Hold on, let me figure this out. Yes, you can put these shapes and they will fit perfectly like this. Look at this. Okay, this is even better because it shows you that. Okay, and I'm just going to take and draw this in real quickly. I just thought since I might not be able to cook tonight because, oops, that was a piece of tape. I've got to cut that off. That's going to mess it up. Okay. Nope. So just go straight across. So what it does is it will fill up every shape. Now this comes down here and fills up this. And I look up MC Escher, some of his artworks. He did like the art where the staircases go up at all different angles. And at first glance it looks normal, but then it's like, wait a minute, that can't work. That can't be. So now this, look at this. This fits right in here. And then I can, and I'm not taking the time to be exactly perfect, which you need to be, but you can see where that shape fits there. So a tessellation is something, oh, I don't know. Thank you. Is where you can fill up that whole paper with just this one design that you created from a square just by making the shapes and moving them to the opposite side. So I was thinking, I thought about tessellations and but I wouldn't want to sew all of that of the curves. But I was thinking about hexagons are tessellations. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Because you can fit them, they can be fit in. You can put another one up here like that. Then you can fit one right in here. You could put another one this way. So you can fill up an entire space. So hexagon, apple core. Good, Bonnie. Exactly. Apple core, tumbler, Moritz Cornelius Escher. Thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you, darling. Yep. And so this can be repeated, and fill up an entire area. Well, these are easy to use in art where you're just coloring and painting them. But I was thinking, how can I use something like that in quilting? And so then I started looking at this. And if you notice, this is, it's not it's not really a hexagon, is it? Is hex 8 and this is 6? But look at this. This is a tessellation. Now, she squared it off. She put it in this block. So now it's no longer a tessellation unless you say it's a tessellation with right angle triangles. Okay? But I was thinking that might be a fun shape to do English paper piecing with. It's a curve, but it's not that bad. I don't know. Would that be worth it? So, what I'm starting to think is I want to do some more searching and looking. Here we go. They are half hexagons. Okay, so this is a hexagon. I was drawing an octagon before. I apologize. That's an octagon, not a hexagon. Hex is the six-sided. But as much as I hate hexagons, I like this. So, am I being a total hypocrite if I want to try to do some English paper piecing, but I don't want to call them hexagons? So, but this shape, I think I would enjoy it. So now I might look into trying to find a program where I can print out a bunch of these on a sheet of cardstock so that I could try to make my own English paper piecing. I don't know. What do y'all think? But, I don't think I'd want anything too much fancier than this, which unfortunately I was trying to think of and now this quilt, these are this big. That's a little big for me. So, but I would want to do something just to hold in my hands to work on. But I hate the thought after making a fool of myself saying I will never do a hexagon. Be careful about pronouncing. Never is a long time. Never is a long time, but I think that's really pretty. And look how you could fussy cut different kinds of fabrics. I don't know. And I looked at some um English paper piecing that you could just make what looks like a kaleidoscope, but by using the different shapes and the rings of fabrics and stuff. Whoa. Oh, thank you, Laura. But I'm thinking, so now you know about tessellations. MC Escher. Thank you, Miss Mary, for typing up the information. Thank you, Bonnie, for mentioning other forms of tessellations. Some people will try to do these so that it might look like a fish or whatever. And you can just sit all day and play with trying to make different shapes and see how they look. So, but I tell you, Miss Victoria Finley Wolf might have convinced me that a hexie doesn't have to be bad, especially because you can't really see it here. You see what I'm saying? am I am I just trying too hard to skirt that title? I think I might be. But I I tell you, I know I have UFOs to do and all of that, but the first I really thought, I know I've heard people talk about English paper piecing forever because some people use that instead of different kinds of applique, or that is their favorite method. And I have used freezer paper, good, but there's just something about I'm warming up. I'm hearing it so much. I'm warming up to the idea of having my little glue pen, or knowing me, Elmer's school glue, and making my own cardstock templates. I wish I had a Cricut machine now, but it's not worth buying a Cricut machine just to test out English paper piecing. But I'm thinking, that would be another fun thing to do at night when I'm sitting there watching TV. So, y'all, what am I going to do? Yes, the number is 11. So our first month, January's was 9, project 9. Today's project number is 11. That's the one I drew. So anyway, if any of you has any good advice, I have started watching YouTube videos on English paper piecing. There's just something that looks satisfying about doing that whip stitch along that firm edge. Now you do, and don't use glue that's too good, because then you can't get the paper pieces out. And I have, ooh, I just thought of something, y'all. I have one of these hole punches I had gotten for a Jenny Beyer project, and it has a tiny little hole, eighth of an inch. This, if I made my own English paper piecing, I could pierce each of them. The benefit of having a tiny hole in the middle or wherever is you can take your seam ripper or a safety pin and pop those papers out to reuse them. Because I know me, if I print these and cut them all out just right, I'm not going to want to throw them away. So, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Slip it in a little bag? That is a great idea. I'm thinking I've got a container that would be really good. I got it off of a yard sale table, and it's one of those really nice ones that's expensive if you buy it, but it has all these different slots, and I could put all my supplies in there. Hmm. Well, I appreciate it. And give me your opinions, write email or on our group's IO, and tell me what your experience is or what you're thinking about, or if you want to try it with me, because it could be something I could try to get all the supplies by next week. And looking at my stash, it would be fun to fussy cut, which means I'd have to make a plastic clear template, but it might be fun to fussy cut the shape. So what do y'all think? I think I'm getting myself in a little deep again. But you know what? That's a good point, Lisa. It's nice to have something you can carry with you. And I only have one more row of my cowl that I'm crocheting. So my hands are starting to feel a little empty. Although I do have UFOs that need handwork. Bonnie, I've got that LaFleur. I've got the Alex Anderson neutrals. But boy, I love starting new things, and life is short. Who knows? I might find my great joy in English paper piecing. What do you think? I'm a mess. Aren't I a mess? Oh, y'all are the best. Well, thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I cannot tell you what you mean to me. You keep me going, you keep me creative. You listen when I complain, you give me hints and helps, and I hope this is such a wonderful group. I told Mark, there's no value that you could put on this group because it is wonderful. And I think sadly, it's something that's been missing since the pandemic. And virtual or not, we're a family. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. So take good care of yourself, stay warm, do something good just for you. What could you do? Maybe look into English paper piecing and helping me to get over my embarrassment of having sworn, as God is my witness, I will never eat a hexagon. Oh, my. All right, you wonderful people. Have a good week. Oh, Sonia's here. I love that gal. Take good care. I will finish this quilt and hopefully it will be on my quilt frame this week. All right, everybody. You're the best. Take good care. See you Thursday night, Art Quilt Thursday. We're making progress with that landscape. Take care, everybody. You are the best. Thanks for dropping by, Sonia and Bonnie. Oh, y'all are all so wonderful. Take good care. Bye bye, y'all.